So Formula One posted an article on their website/app this week, and when I initially read this, I could not make any sense of it. The thing is that I actually made a video right after Japan asking F1 to make an update or alteration to the regulations in 2026, and it seems that they actually kind of listened. But look at all of this. Look at how much text there is, and this is so much technoblabble. It is more technoblabble than an average Star Trek episode, I feel. Okay, all joking aside, let's see what is actually in this article. First of all, they talk about qualifying, and there's once again a change in megajoules. And yes, that's megajoules. MJ does not stand for Michael Jackson. This is actually the second time this year that they have changed this in qualifying, because first of all, they started with 9 megajoules for the first 2 races, and then between China and Japan, they reduced that to 8, and now apparently to 7. And this is very much to just make sure that the drivers don't drive slowly on straights, which is what people hated in the onboard videos. However, they still have to do some lifting on the straights, so I'm sure that the next pole position lap will have some lifting, and I'm seriously wondering if they'll cut away to an offboard again. But the basic gist is that the drivers will push more throughout the entire quali lap, and it will be more exciting, and hopefully the qualifying will just look better. Now, in regards to the race changes, it very much just seems like they want to avoid another Bannerman crash, which is, again, what I asked for. And once again, if you read the text, it's very difficult to understand, even for someone like me who's been following the sport for a very long time. But the idea with these changes is that, a crash like the one with Bannerman won't happen again because the car in front won't slow down as much all of a sudden. And that's, of course, one of the most important things. Driver safety has to be a concern for sure. And especially after the crash we saw in Suzuka, it's like, okay, they have adjusted the rules a little bit to make sure that that won't happen again. Hopefully that will make that part of the sport a bit better. Now, there's also something about race starts, and I'm not sure if this is in response to the fact that Mercedes have lost the lead at every single race so far, because every single time Mercedes has actually locked out the front row very convincingly. Then by the time we get to the race start, they get jumped by Ferrari and or McLaren, and then at the end of the race they still win because they just have the fastest car. So I'm curious if now with the starts we'll see more normal starts. I kind of hope not, because I think the excitement of the start was the fact that Ferrari and McLaren went ahead, and then it's the question, how long can they hold on to that lead, because you know that eventually Mercedes is just going to come through. Of course, I don't know how this will play out, I'm just guessing at this point, but again, I can't make much sense of this, and I'm just speculating on what I think it means. And finally, there's a bit about wet weather racing, because let's be fair, we all saw what happened in Belgium 2021, or more specifically, what didn't happen in Belgium in 2021. And then after that, we also had instances like Japan 2022, Belgium last year, and other red flagged rain sessions where there's a race and it needs to be red flagged and you need to wait forever. And I especially am sympathizing for the fans. If you are sitting on the grass, you're probably getting soaked and you're sitting in the mud for 3 hours without any racing going on. So it's only fair that they are making some changes to hopefully make rain hit races better than it was before, but also make sure that it's safe for the drivers, because of course visibility has to be a concern. If the drivers can't see where they're going, that's really dangerous for them. So if you can make sure that the visibility is better for them, but we as an audience still get a race, that's a win-win. So in the end, I think I made some sense out of it, and I hope that the regulation changes, alterations are better than what we saw before, but it's really up in the air. And I very much think it's hope for the best, prepare for the worst, because we do have to prepare for a reality where race starts are all of a sudden normal. Mercedes just drives away from the start and we never see them again. if that's the case, then we might be in for some very boring races for the remainder of the year, and I'm not going to be too happy with that. If Mercedes is just going to dominate, then my team can't get a win. Even though I literally talked about potentially winning a race or two in this year's championship. So yeah, that's going to be fun for us, McLaren, Ferrari, or whatever kind of fan you are that's not Mercedes. But, you know, we will have to wait and see. I think by the time that we get to Miami to that first sprint race, because it's going to be a sprint weekend next week, we might actually have a bit of an idea what we're in for, and then I can make another video either ranting or potentially like cheering the new regulation changes. I have no idea. I'm so skeptical about this, but you know, we'll have to wait and see. Either way, whatever I think, it doesn't matter. I wonder what you think. I am very curious what you can make of this. Are you a bit more adapt to what is in this text? Because I have no idea what this says. I really don't know. Please let me know what you think this all means in the comments below. Anyway, that's the end of my video. Please like it if you did, and subscribe to my channel for more Formula 1 content. And of course, until the next time, take care.